gentlemen, welcome to the Aspire Sports Show. I'm Tyler, along with my co-host here. So are you on or no? Are you? Oh, okay. Okay. Kyle has to do some technical things here to get everything situated. But yeah, we're live and we'll answer. If you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask them in the chat. We'll answer any questions you have. So we're going to be bringing you. Turn that down. We'll be bringing you all the live fantasy advice, be talking about the game tonight and anything that's happening throughout the week. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first thing I want to do real quick is I just want to kind of run through the injury news for tonight as well as, the latest throughout the week. The injury news here, we got Seattle and Arizona. Tyler Lockett is active. Football Doc said he doesn't believe he's going to be limited by the injury, so he thinks that he's fully good to go tonight. So go ahead and fire him up. Don't be concerned about his injury. Carlos Hyde is out. No, I'm sorry. Chris Carson is out. Carlos Hyde is active. Alex Collins, which actually was pretty shocking to me. They didn't get a deal done, so he's officially not playing tonight. So they can't bring him up from the practice squad, so he's not playing. Arizona right now has 4 defensive linemen out tonight, so pretty big for that running attack for Arizona or for Seattle. Corey Peters suffered, I believe he tore his ACL. He's their defensive tackle, so he's out for this game. You have Shaquille Griffin and Quentin Dunbar both out for the Seahawks, so that means they're down their 2 starting corners. You have a terrible defense that's getting even worse. So, smash starts for across the board. Oh my gosh, across the board. Holy crap for DeAndre Hopkins, and I do think that Kirk tonight is a pretty solid play. Although I wouldn't go out and say like he's a must-start like wide receiver 2 in my opinion. I think he's more like a wide receiver 3 with high upside if he can score some touchdowns. But so I believe that's it for tonight. Any other news for tonight? I think that's about it. That's really all. I do think Arizona is missing a guard. They're on their 3rd guard on the year, so maybe plays a role. I don't think it plays that big of a role, but that's all for the injury news. And then I'll go ahead and just talk about injury news across the NFL. We have Davante Adams. He was downgraded to did not practice, so doesn't sound too promising. Swift did not practice due to a concussion. You have Kenny Golladay also did not practice. Stafford was limited. Mixon didn't practice. Looks unlikely to play. T. Higgins did not practice due to an illness. So I believe he'll probably get better, but just something to keep your eye on as well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did not practice as well due to an illness. I'm not sure. Alvin Kamara did not practice because of foot injury. And also, this one was a little bit weird. So Sammy Watkins, earlier in the day, it said that he's expected to come back. But then later in the day, it said that he actually popped up on the injury report with a different injury that he's missed in the past couple of games. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but if you're interested in playing Watkins this week, keep an eye on that. Calvin Ridley limited. Doesn't look like Teddy Bridgewater is going to go in this game. He's very limited. Matt Rule said so. I don't think he's going to play this week. So kind of downgrade the passing attack there in Carolina. Mark Ingram did not practice, but he doesn't usually practice, usually practices on Fridays. Jimmy Smith was limited. Noah Fant, questionable, but they said he's expected to play. Drew Lock, not sure. He feels better, but I don't know if he's going to play this week, so got to keep an eye out on that. So, a lot of injury news, a lot of key players to really keep track of here. So I'm going to ask you guys real quick, Gigs, if Davante Adams does not play this week, do you have any interest in Marquez Valdes-Scantling or Alan Lazard?
Yeah, I would be interested in both of them. I think one or the other will have double-digit points, if not both. Lazard, there's a question mark because he's finally coming off IR. That I think he's had a core injury that's kept him out. So he was the number 2, I'm guessing, before he went down. He was like averaging 13, 14 fantasy points a game. So I think they both get a bump. I think they both become viable options, maybe a flex wide receiver 3 spot in Davante Adams' absence.
All right. What about Swift? Would you have any interest in AP or carry on if he can't go?
Maybe carry on because he'll get passing work over AP, but that backfield's been a real mess all year. I think Drake has had a couple games where he's gotten double-digit point, or not Drake. I'm sorry. Kerryon Johnson's had a couple games where he's got double-digit points, but it's not that tough of a matchup. I wouldn't be scared to fire up Kerryon Johnson if it was like my running back 3 flex option, but not someone I'm going to go drop a player for because once Swift comes back, he has no value.
Oh, MP thinks Drake's going to get more than 15 points tonight. Hey, I hope. I don't think so personally. I think he's going to need like possibly 2 touchdowns to get there. This is why Seattle has the number 4 run defense in the NFL, allowing like 3.7 yards per carry, 4th least yards in the NFL, and they have Snack Harrison, who just came back last week, one of the better run defenders in the league. I don't expect them to be able to run the ball. That's why I think Edmonds is going to be a better play than Drake. My opinion. That's just my opinion. Maybe Drake has a better game, but also down in the red zone, even if they do get down there, do you expect them to run it with Drake? Because I don't. I think Kyler just hogs the ball and tries to run it in himself. So just my opinion. My opinion. And let's go ahead. So are you worried about, like, who are you truly worried about? Like, are you worried about Alvin Kamara a little bit at all? Are you guys with him missing practice? I mean, I think he finished the game, right? Last week. I don't think there was any injury reported after the game. So does this, like, if Latavius Murray was available, would you run out and like 100% pick him up right now? If you have would you make room to pick him up right now?
I wouldn't make room to pick him up unless you're someone that desperately needs a win this week. If you're someone that like you need to win this week or you're not happening for the playoffs, I guess he's a priority ad just because he has the potential to not win you a week, but have the potential to like put you in a decent position if he gets all the work in New Orleans. But if you're someone sitting pretty comfortably, I wouldn't mess with your roster too much to add with a guy I don't know if I'll say probably, but I'll say probably won't end up getting a bulk of the load.
I say roster Latavius if he's out there. Mostly because when he starts and there's no Kamara, he has a really high ceiling. And I remember last year he won me a couple weeks and I was scraping bottom of the barrel for running backs. It was bad. I've had Bell 2 years in a row and I've had to do it 2 years in a row. It's bad. And I play in a league and both these guys know they're in it. I mean, there's no running backs. There's nothing to choose from because we have so many running back hoarders. So, I mean, if Kamara were to miss practice tomorrow, I think it's like an obvious sign he's not playing. And I would go out and get Latavius if I have someone I can drop. Like maybe, I don't know, if you're rostering like 3 tight ends, go drop a tight end for him. If you have 3 quarterbacks, drop a quarterback for him. That's just my opinion, and that's in a normal league with 1 QB. If you're 2 QB. You must have 3. But no, I think he becomes a good play if Kamara were to miss. He could win you a week, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think he should be rostered. If you are in a spot where you do need to win this week, 100%. Because, like you said, when he plays, he's basically it. I mean, he's going to see a lot of the carries, so a lot of the work. And this is against Atlanta, who's not that good defensively, especially against running backs out of the backfield. So I'd expect them to be decently involved. How do you guys feel about Taysom Hill this week? So, like, because I see a lot of people saying, should I play him in the tight end position this week? Like, to me, I just find it weird. Like, I get if you want to be a bit creative, maybe. I don't see how he, like, is that, like, say Mark Andrews. Like, I'd feel much more confident starting Mark Andrews this week than like Taysom Hill, because I don't think he's going to really do anything other than what he's been doing all season. Like, I just don't expect that from him unless, something happens to Jameis, then sure. But if nothing happens to Jameis or if he plays decently well, I don't expect Taysom Hill to have that good of a game.
I can entertain the idea.
if you start him in a tight end spot, is he getting passing yards if he's dropping back? Like, I know in some leagues they limit you to you're getting like receiving yards strictly and touchdowns, but even then, I mean, like I guess to even make it worth it, I guess he has to throw for what, like, for him to be a decent start, he'd have to throw for what, like 100 yards and throw for a touchdown. And I mean, if he's splitting out, obviously he can do that as well. But even to make it worth it over some of these other guys that are kind of like regular tight ends, that for it to be worth it, he still has to do something pretty creative and be on the field a decent amount beyond just passing the ball to make it worth a start.
What about you, Giggs? How do you feel?
I understand where both of you are coming from. Definitely, for me, I think it's a nice pick or a nice play, especially if you're like in a 14-man, 12-man league. You know, there's a lot of tight ends that are beat up right now. A lot of tight ends that have been duds this year. You know, there's no Kittle this week, obviously, because he's out. No Evan Ingram, he's on bye. There's a couple other tight ends, I believe, that have been decent. They're on bye, and a lot that have Q tags. So if he comes in and does a trick play or has just a couple drives as quarterback, I think that makes his ceiling so much higher. And the fact that you can get that at the tight end position, that's great, because 10 points at the tight end position, that's a good week. There's not even a lot of tight ends that average more than 10 points. If there are, it's only like 2 or 3. So I like the fact that Taysom Hill, he already gets involved in the offense, and now you're telling me he might be able to get a passing touchdown for me or something like that. I think it's a pretty creative play. I don't think it's bad. If you don't have good options, go ahead and do it. But yeah, if you have Mark Andrews, if you have TJ Hawkinson, you have guys like that, I don't think you should get cute and play him. But if you're hurting at the tight end position in a 12, 14-man league, I would definitely entertain that idea.
What about like a borderline guy? Like, so let's say Gesicki. Who are you starting? Like Gesicki, or are you starting Taysom Hill?
Yeah, I'd probably go Hill, because even though Tua's looked good, he's really spread the ball around, and he hasn't had a shit ton of pass attempts. Like, he might not even have to pass the ball a lot this week. I could see them getting ahead on Denver real quickly. Gesicki's been real hit or miss. So with Taysom Hill, knowing that he's always a little bit involved in the offense and then has the potential to play quarterback for a couple drives or maybe take over for the rest of the game if Winston throws like 2 pick six. Yeah, I think that might be a better play than Gesicki.
And to be clear, I think Hill only has eligibility at tight end in ESPN. I don't think he has eligibility for tight end in Yahoo.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's only ESPN.
What a good problem to have. This guy has both Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson on his team. Who's he starting?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'd start Kyler Murray personally.
Because
look at Kyle. What are you on Twitter right now?
Yeah.
Are you just as I'm putting stuff in? I'm playing Hill on FanDuel. How do you feel about that, Giggs, this week? Oh yeah, especially on FanDuel. Yeah.
About playing who?
Hill.
As what? Like just a.
Can you play him? Yeah, is he eligible? I haven't even checked on FanDuel. Is he eligible as a tight end?
I didn't even think of it. I'm gonna go look right now.
What about Hill or Higbee? Now that's one I'd probably go Hill. Like,
yeah,
just take that upside, because I feel like if you have good options, like obviously like Kelsey, and then Mark Andrews, Waller. I think even like Hayden Hurst, Hawkinson, like those guys. Noah Fant. I even
Kirk
would probably go
Carlos
him.
Hyde, who you PPR?
I do like Hyde a lot tonight. I think Hyde sees a decent amount of the work.
So over Christian Kirk.
Taysom Hill's 4,500 on FanDuel. I would definitely do that.
I gotta answer it.
Yeah, I mean, just go ahead and answer it. They're both really good plays. I think both solid plays. I don't think there's that much of a difference. It's gonna come down to who scores a touchdown between the two. I think.
Ooh, Abe Woo's with the answer in there. He beat me to it. Tight end, 4,500. That's right.
So he's a solid play. So let's go ahead, because we haven't even talked about tonight's game. So let's talk about tonight's game. All right, it should be a pretty good game. I hope so. I hope that some crazy stuff doesn't happen. I think Colin's going to take a lot of work. No, Collins isn't playing tonight. He's officially inactive, right?
Yeah, he's back on the practice squad because they didn't sign him.
No, Collins isn't playing
Or off the
tonight.
practice squad.
They had to sign him, officially sign him, and they didn't, so he's not eligible to play tonight. So I think Carlos Hyde's going to have a decent week this week. Should see plenty of work and is going to be kind of touchdown dependent. So if you have him, if you're struggling at, I think he's honestly like a back end RB2, high upside RB3 if he's able to score for sure. Fantasy people help. I have Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen. Who do I bench? Dang. I'd honestly go Thielen, personally.
Yeah, I'd probably go Thielen.
I just think that the Vikings are going to be up early in this game, and they'll be able to run the ball efficiently on Dallas, so I don't think that they'll have to pass that much. Am I starting Balaj or Hyde? I honestly would go Balaj. I like Balaj a lot this week, personally. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know if I can ever get behind Balaj, but like if he does it one more week, I'm gonna have to get on the Balaj train.
I'll say this: there's only three running backs in the past 2 weeks that have more touches than Kalen Balaj. That's Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, James Robinson. Only three running backs. Only 3 running backs in the NFL that have more touches than him. So I think he's definitely the back until Eckler comes back. Damian Harris or Bernard if Bernard can't go, or if Mixon can't go. Who do you guys like?
I think
We're
Damian
standard,
Harris
I
is
would go
good.
Harris.
I'm chill. I like Damian Harris.
So I definitely think in standard. If it's standard, I'd go Harris. But in PPR, I honestly would probably go.
Are you starting
Bernard.
Hyde over Ahmed?
I don't know what to expect out of that backfield. I do like Ahmed a lot. But I don't know what's going to happen with Breida come back. But I also don't know what's going to happen tonight. Maybe Hyde plays all the snaps. Maybe they do kind of a rotation. I don't know. I like Ahmed a lot. Honestly, I do like Ahmed a lot. That's me personally. So.
Who all active is it tonight? DeeJay Dallas, Carlos Hyde, and
Bo Scarborough.
Oh, Scarborough.
Bo didn't the Lions have Bo for a little bit?
The Eagles had him too. Yeah.
Hyde versus Carolina or the Cardinals tonight, or
Josh
Gio
Adams,
versus
Eagles,
Washington. Who would you guys go?
Can you repeat that?
or Hyde or Bernard or no, I feel like we just had that one, didn't we? No, we didn't have Hyde or Bernard. That was Harris and Bernard.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is like a standard and PPR question. Like if it's PPR, I think you go Gio. If it's standard, I'd go Hyde because I like Carlos Hyde's chance of getting a rushing touchdown with all the defensive linemen missing for Arizona. But we know what happens in Cincy when Mixon's not there. Gio just gets all the work. He's good for like 20 touches usually.
Big Ben or Mahomes? Definitely Mahomes. You don't say Mahomes. Do not say Mahomes. I know Big Ben plays Jacksonville this week, but don't say Mahomes.
I think that's even
Jacob's going to have 30 points.
Ben, in my opinion.
Jacob's going to have 30 points or more against Kansas City. Hey, you did call it last week, MP. I got to give it to you. You did call it last week, so maybe he does the same. Scared Hyde aggravates that injury. Maybe I wouldn't be too worried because what is it now? 2 weeks he's missed, I think. So he wasn't even on the injury report, so I think he's fully good to go. I'm going big balls and starting Hyde tonight. I don't think it's that crazy. I honestly think he's a decent play, especially with all the injuries right now. Running back, like honestly, he might be top 20 just because there's so many injuries to the running back position.
Are you gonna play tonight, Hyde, or are you gonna wait and see if Calvin Ridley is healthy?
I think Calvin Ridley plays, so I'd go Calvin Ridley, personally.
Yeah.
So you're saying Ridley is looking at health, his health.
Definitely in PPR, you're going Ridley without a doubt.
That's what you said too.
I think.
PPR,
Yeah, I
so
think he
his health
plays.
is looking up. That's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, play Ridley.
Yeah.
Yo, I got a question.
What do we have? Big Ben or Mahomes? I just can't. I would just go Mahomes. Don't overthink it. Like, don't overthink it. Just put Mahomes.
Like
in
Ben's
there.
he could have a good game, but Mahomes has that potential to just absolutely go off every week. So
Mahomes has 40-point
Yeah,
potential every
exactly.
single week. He
Ben
can't sit
doesn't
that.
have that. His best would be like 30 something on a really good week. Unless,
Um,
yeah, I don't know. They'd have to play a
Let's
really
see.
bad team. for
Duke
him to
Johnson
win.
or Bernard? Who would you go?
That one's tough because
Yeah.
I actually think Duke Johnson could have a really good week this week.
I'd say Bernard just because I don't like Duke Johnson. I just don't think he's a good running back, to be honest with you. Like I just think his role is definitely just a pass catching running back, and he's now put into this like bell cow, and I just don't think like he's made for that. Just some running backs aren't made for that, so it completely ruins his efficiency, and you just have to rely on him scoring or and I like Bernard because I think that game should be highly competitive. I think it might honestly be high scoring as well compared to the Patriots game. I think that's going to be kind of like a Patriots smack him in the mouth good.
Own Swift, but should I drop Curtis Samuel to pick up Hyde or AP to start if he doesn't play?
Ooh,
Well, Swift probably isn't playing.
yeah.
So if
Drop
you need
Curtis
running
Samuel
back,
to pick up Hyde.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. If you need, I don't think Swift plays this week as well. It looks pretty in doubt.
I saw this stat going back to the Houston backfield with Duke Johnson. It said in like 2018, they were 32nd in targets to the running back position. They traded for Duke Johnson. They moved up to like 28th. And then the next year they traded for David Johnson. They moved up to 25th. Like those are the two of the best pass catching backs in the entire league. And they just don't utilize them in that way for whatever reason. I mean,
I don't even think he caught a
makes no
pass
sense.
last week.
Yeah, it was a brutal streaming option that you were hoping to cash home on.
Last week when Lockett had 50 points, or last time when Lockett had 50 points, I benched him for Metcalf. Not benching him again. That's tough because honestly, I mean, it's week to week with those guys. It's really hard to say. Hyde or so I saw somebody say that people are pronouncing it wrong when they said Ahmed. So I don't know if it's Ahmed or Ahmad now. Like all the announcers say Ahmed, but the person said that. And they had a blue check mark next to him. I don't remember who it was, but they said that when the announcers say his name, it's wrong. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell us in the chat if it's right or wrong because I have no idea. But would you go Hyde or Ahmed? Ahmed.
I'd probably go Ahmed. I think we both agree. I think he looked like a really good running back last week. Neither matchup is ideal when it comes to the defense they're playing against. Although I will say the Cardinals have not been the same defense since Chandler Jones has gone down. A lot of their stats has gotten a lot worse on the defensive line and stopping the run and stuff. But I would prefer Ahmed over Carlos Hyde.
With all the injuries, I don't feel that bad about drafting Drake. I mean, that's just how fantasy football goes. You got so many you'll have busts every single year. You'll have injuries. It's just the unfortunate part of, especially injuries are the unfortunate part of fantasy football. Jacoby Myers or Antonio Brown. Me personally, I'd go
Jacoby.
Yeah, definitely.
You going
Jacoby.
Juju over DJ Moore?
Yeah, because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater plays this week, so I really don't feel confident in that passing attack. McKissick or Gio, I would definitely go McKissick. This is a funny stat as well. Funny stat, right? McKissick has the most targets amongst everybody in the league, all the wide receivers, the past 2 weeks in fantasy or in the league. Just the past 2 weeks, he has the most targets. 100%, you got to start him, especially in PPR. There's no way you can start him sit him right now. You have to start him. You start him every week until this wave crashes. You just can't sit him right now. Drake or Connor, who would you guys go? I'd go
Connor.
Yeah.
He's due for a bounce back game, and it's a good matchup.
Is Hyde going to be limited? I don't believe so. He was officially removed from the injury report, so he's good to go. Is he locked start for PPR? I think it depends on who your other options are, really. I wouldn't say he's a lock necessarily, but depends on who your other options are.
You say Ahmed over Hyde?
I would personally.
Do you guys like Ahmed this week? Giggs and Ryan?
Yeah,
I do.
Because of the volume.
Fair enough.
So let's see. I'm benching Gibson this week for Drake because I'm going to watch a game with my player today, and I have an easy opponent. Hey, that's fine. I mean, sometimes honestly, I do that as well. I just bench guys and put them in. That way, I have something to root for. But now I just bet on the games instead, so I don't have to do that anymore. But I've totally have done that in the past, where I just play a guy on Thursday night or Monday night just so I have something to watch the game for. Have some interest in the game. So I totally understand your reasoning. I'd play Gibson, but hey, I get the thinking, I get the mindset, so it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and continue on with, if you guys have any other questions in the chat, please feel free. Juju or Fuller, who would you guys go? Quick.
I go Fuller.
Fuller.
I go Juju. I do want to say this real quick as well for Steelers stack, because I did some diving yesterday. Since Chase Claypool has started in week 7, Ben Roethlisberger is targeting the trio of wide receivers on 63% of his pass attempts. And now, in the past 2 weeks, really since I feel like they're kind of getting things going a little bit offensively in the past 2 weeks, Big Ben is targeting them at 72% rate, those 3 wide receivers. So 72% of the targets is going to one of those guys. That's crazy. Like, that's honestly pretty insane, and it's probably only going to rise. I'd imagine it's going to get near 80%. So like, those guys are studs every single week, in my opinion. You got a lot of good options there. I'm starting Hill at tight end, Effett, Mahomes, Bernard, Harris, Metcalf, Jefferson, Hill, Thomas, Dolphins, Suck. I think that's a really solid. I think that's a really solid lineup, honestly. I think Michael Thomas
I have a question.
Is really good to trade for as well.
I don't think we talked about this, but personal question here is Edwards-Helaire. Are we worried about him? And if so, do you start Edmonds over him?
I'm worried for sure. I think I want to pull up the stat before I say it, but I'm pretty sure he played on I'll let Giggs answer the question, then I'm going to look this up real quick.
Are you talking about like the illness?
Because the illness popped up today, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even care about the illness. I care about his usage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not as worried as you guys are, because I think he's still reaching like double-digit points, right? Or has he failed to get double-digit points a couple of games now?
I don't. I'll look it up. I'll look it up for you. So
I have CH right here, but because there's 2 running backs for Kansas City that popped up on the illness report and didn't practice today. So I don't, obviously when you just pop up midweek on illness, it takes you back a little bit. And if one of your other options is Chase Edmonds, are you playing it safe and just putting Chase Edmonds in there? Or are you taking your chance? And if you also have Le'Veon Bell, who didn't sit out due to illness, are you just
don't play Le'Veon Bell?
Well, if CEH is out, and he becomes the running back,
I'd play Edwards or Edmonds, honestly. Last time they played, right? Clyde played 25 of the 62 snaps. To me, that's not good. That's no bueno. I hate that. And then you have Darrell Henderson played 19, or Darrell Williams played 19, and Le'Veon Bell played 19 snaps. Like, that's not good at all. Like, I don't like that. I just don't like the usage at all right now for him. So I don't even care about the illness. I care about the usage. Where I think Chase Edmonds honestly has a pretty good game tonight, because I think he's going to be heavily involved in the passing game.
I like Chase Edmonds as well. He only has 3 games this season under 9 points. So even as like a backup, I know he started a couple games, but he's been serviceable. He can get you double digits, and I think tonight he will.
McKissick or Hyde? Yeah. I would go McKissick 100%, especially if it's PPR. 100% go McKissick. Exactly why I want to start Drake, because Connor didn't do his thing versus the Cowgirls. I don't blame you, and he didn't do his thing last week. I don't know if he's going to do his thing this week, honestly, as well, but Jacksonville's pretty terrible. But they did, slow down the running game for Green Bay. I honestly thought Green Bay was going to run all over him, but they didn't. So I don't know. Antonio Brown, real quick. Antonio Brown or Carlos Hyde? Who would you go, Ryan?
Antonio Brown or Carlos Hyde? We still haven't seen it from Brown. I think we both called it last week that was going to be, or at least thought last week might be the game for Antonio Brown where they finally clicked. And it would have been that game if Brady didn't miss him on that 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah, wide open.
Yeah, like that changes someone's fantasy outlook. We'd be talking about how good Antonio Brown looked last week if Brady doesn't overthrow him. So actually, I think I just talked myself into going Brown instead of Hyde, just because we have, for all the reasons. I mean, you think today becomes kind of a pass happy, like shootout type game. At least that's what the consensus seems to be, with such a high over under. So I guess it all becomes worth it if Carlos Hyde falls in the end zone close, but with Russell Wilson also being down there, kind of like Kyler Murray, it kind of takes that TD down in the red zone type thing away. So I guess I'd take the chance on AB having one of those 20-point games that we've all been waiting on. And it also has to do too. Yeah, I was just gonna say it has to do too where you're standing at right now. If you need a miracle, right, and if it looks like you're gonna lose by 25 points, and you need to take the chance of a big game, I guess I'd rather AB in that situation than if you just need a floor because it looks like you're gonna
win. Giggs, who would you go? Would you go Kirk or Thielen?
I'd probably go Thielen.
I'd go Thielen as well. I decided to sit Gurley and move McKissick in from my flex. So who do I start flex now? Michael Pittman, Jarvis Landry, or your favorite Tim Patrick? I want to go Tim Patrick. Oh, that's really tough. Honestly, I'd probably if you are sitting Gurley, I would start Gurley over those options because, number one, maybe this doesn't happen, but Jair Alexander, I don't know if he also plays. He has been practicing, so that's actually good. I don't know if he's officially cleared concussion protocol. If he doesn't clear, then I would go Pittman. But I do think Jair Alexander covers the taller wide receivers.
Real quick,
so I think
Hyde, Edmonds, Peterson, or CEH?
I would go Hyde, yeah. So I think Jair is going to shadow him. So I would just put Gurley back in there. It's a brutal matchup, but at least he's getting a decent amount. I don't know. I haven't checked this past week, but prior to this week, he was second in the league in red zone attempts and goal line carries. So at least they'll probably score. They'll probably get down there. So you hope he falls in the end zone. McKissick, dude, has 29 targets. Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. There's no way you can sit him right now unless you have obviously James Robinson or somebody crazy. But especially in PPR, he's an animal. You start him. And that's also, he should have had a touchdown last week that was wide open. Alex Smith overthrew him. So kind of talking about missed opportunities here. He had a missed opportunity. McKissick or Juju, I would go still McKissick personally. That's Kirk, Hyde, or Edwards for flex. Who would you go?
We're talking about Edwards-Helaire?
Or Edmonds. I'm sorry, Edmonds.
Oh, okay.
Who would you go?
I'd probably go Edmonds.
Really quick, go on Twitter and answer 2 questions that are up.
I'd probably go Edmonds.
On Twitter?
Yes. Just hurry up and answer them. I'll do whatever. Just go answer
them. We'll just ask the questions in the chat.
Yeah, well, anybody that, if you ask a question and we haven't answered it, don't be afraid to ask it again. We're not going to be able to get to everybody's right away because we'd like to be at least somewhat in depth. Also, if you're watching this and you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. It helps us grow, and we want to help you. You tune in, watch our videos, whatever. It'll answer any questions you have ahead of time, so you don't even need to really join our live chats, but we still want you to anyways, and you still should. But yeah, Ryan, anything else you were going to say about what you were talking about?
No, I think it was, honestly, I said Edmonds at the time, but I don't even remember who the 3 people were. I know Hyde was one of them, was Edmonds, and I forget who the third was. Yeah, but we've kind of mentioned it.
I think it was Christian Kirk. Was that
in that case? I like Edmonds more. I think we've kind of said it. One of the bets I like tonight, it's gone up a little bit too, is Edmonds receiving yards. It started at 20 and a half. I've seen it as high as 24 and a half. So I think he definitely gets the passing game work, and I like him receiving yards tonight. Okay. Plus, I like him getting in the end zone as well.
Gotcha. All right. So you guys still think playing Hyde over Ridley, you still think that's a good idea, or you think Ridley because just the upside of Ridley? That is what Giggs, I think you mentioned that. The upside of Ridley is better than anything probably Hyde will face tonight.
Yeah, I definitely would go Ridley, especially in PPR.
Okay. So, Craig, if you are in PPR, definitely go with Ridley. Yeah, since Connor is bad, Drake or Edmonds, what do you guys think? I think Drake has pretty good upside. I do like Edmonds. I do think if it's PPR, I think Edmonds is, in my opinion, going to get the better side of that tonight. But also, you guys can make a case for Kenyan Drake if you think otherwise.
I'm on Edmonds rather than Drake.
You know what?
Deciding just between those two.
I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna go Kenyan Drake because I could be wrong. Did he go for 100 rushing yards last game?
Last game he did, yeah, versus Buffalo.
Yeah. So he went for 100 that game. So against Seattle last time, is that when he got hurt?
Yeah, Seattle he did. He only had 34 yards and 14 carries though.
Craig.
And before that game, he had that 164. I know there was a garbage time run in there, but
was that against Dallas too? It was against Dallas.
Yeah, I was against Dallas. But guys, Kenyan Drake last year, he turned it on. That's why he got drafted where he did. Maybe this second half he comes alive. He's got 2 100-yard games under his belt in the past 3. And when those games he wasn't healthy, I'm going Kenyan Drake tonight.
Hey, we need someone to go differently. You know what I'm saying? So
fair enough. Ridley.
I don't think Ridley's going to be out.
Yeah, he's probably going to play Craig. So really, I wouldn't worry about it.
Did you answer the
just in case? Just have
Herbert or
no? I'm gonna. I just wanted to point that out for him.
I'll say it real quick. I'd go Herbert. I know Lamar has a really good matchup, but go Herbert tonight. Can you trust Lockett tonight? Yes, Football Doc. If you go and follow the Football Doc, he doesn't expect.
Are you playing him over Terry McLaurin?
No,
I'd play Scary Terry.
So Greg, there's your answer. Greg Chapman plays Scary Terry. Yes, we do trust Lockett. Hyde or Bernard PPR carry or PPC carry.
Points per carry?
Yeah. I would go Hyde. I think Hyde's going to touch the ball.
Hell, frick, you need to get in one of those leagues. Damn.
So you said
I would really like that league. I do think Hyde's going to have a decent amount of carries tonight. Yeah.
Okay, so Leroy, Hyde. I do agree. Bernard is not a points per carry guy, obviously.
And they have been using Samaje Perine.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
And he outgained Bernard last week.
Who should I trade for? I have 5 extra receivers: Deontay, AB, Darius Slayton, Adam Thielen, Chase Claypool.
Who should you trade? It's really hard to say who should trade for. I would say this, and this one I'll say for everybody that's listening right now. Always be trying to trade for everybody. Throw shit offers at people. Even if they don't accept it, they might counter you. Then you can get something going. It's really hard to just say who should you trade for. Always look for guys that have bad weeks. I think Michael Thomas is a prime person, but obviously you have really good wide receivers. But then for running backs, I would target somebody like trying to trade one of your lower end wide receivers for like a David Montgomery, because he has a beautiful stretch there, or send 2 of them, try to get like Nick Chubb, because like one of those guys that has a really good schedule going forward. Even Swift, maybe that Swift owner this week needs a win. So go out and try to get Swift for, one of those guys.
Yeah, I would definitely, if you're going to trade any of those guys, I wouldn't do like a Deontay or Adam Thielen, maybe even Slayton.
Claypool.
I would trade Claypool or AB or somebody like that who has potential to have really off weeks, where I think Deontay, Darius Slayton, Adam Thielen, those guys are always going to get targets and they're always going to get receptions. So like their bottom line, I feel like, is much better than Claypool or AB's bottom line, where it could literally be Claypool had negative points one week. So things right after coming off of a 4-touchdown week. So there's just things to think about like that. So I don't know.
Lock it over. So real quick, who would you guys go? Real quick, who would you go? Lockett, Crowder, Lockett or Crowder? Right now, I would say I wouldn't even consider Anderson right now, because it does not look like Teddy Bridgewater is going to play this week. So I wouldn't even consider Anderson, just because PJ Walker is going to play, and I don't trust that situation at all. So it's Lockett or Crowder. So who would you go, Ryan?
Lockett.
And who would you go, Giggs?
Lockett.
Lockett. There you go, Lockett. Unless no, I'm not.
Gives you something to watch tonight.
I do like Crowder. Crowder's really solid this week as well.
I do think
no problem.
DK and then Lockett are going to split for a lot of points tonight.
Going back to the last question, Kyle, that you said.
35 points. Combined.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about it too.
Yeah,
with the issue with, you mentioned possibly, and you didn't say this person, I'm just saying specifically the issue with trading AB right now is that I feel like he's still at his floor. We haven't seen that game fantasy wise, like, because the more than likely the person you're trading with is just going to go look at how many points he's put up since he started. And we've already talked about it. If he catches that 50-yard pass, so then obviously right now we're talking about a much better return because someone's just going to look at that, how many points he put up. So I feel like right now we're at his floor still. And I know the trade deadline is more than likely this week. So I feel like you're really not going to get the return unless someone just sees the name and still sees his name as having value, that you could get, that he could return back to in coming weeks. That's why I wouldn't trade AB is basically what I was saying. And Giggs, you can go now, buddy.
Thanks, Bruce. We appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. We really appreciate that. Anybody else, if you're not subscribed, please do. Please like this stream. If you're watching right now, we really appreciate it.
And yeah, thank you for watching.
I can't see the players he listed again, but I think he had Claypool and Deontay Johnson. And this is just my opinion. I'm in a couple leagues where I have two wide receivers that play for the same team, like DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. And there's a league I have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. I think, yeah, he's got the same thing going on. I personally hate that. I hate having two guys on the same team. It seems like it's hard to get both of them to go double digits. And if you look at Metcalf, Lockett, that's kind of how it's been this year. Metcalf's been the more consistent, but Lockett's high in total points scored on the season, but that's because he's had like two big games. So honestly, if I would choose between Deontay Johnson and Claypool, who I want to keep, I'd put one of those wide receivers in, one I don't want, and maybe throw Lockett in there and try to get a nice 2-for-1 for who knows. Maybe you can get like a stud running back, like I don't know if someone would give up Kamara. That's a little much, but I mean, if you can get like a Miles Sanders or some stud at running back for that, you already are loaded up at at receiver, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, honestly, and I just looked at this, is something to think about with Adam Thielen too, is his stretch right now isn't too bad, but if you're somebody who's going to the playoffs, I would look into it because he has Cowboys, Panthers, Jags his next 3 weeks, but then Bucks, Bears, Saints, which are some of the top secondaries in the league and some of the better run stoppers in the league. So Dalvin Cook, if healthy, and I mean, whoever is playing, I forget what his name is, their backup, but Alexander Madison. Yeah. So really, they might go pass heavy in those games. He has some kind of potential, but if you're going for a playoff run, that's a pretty tough matchup for him 3 straight weeks. So that's something else to think about. But any other questions we haven't answered? Would you sit Connor for McKissick? This is for my PPR league.
Yes, I would.
I agree.
Ooh, I wouldn't. I would play Connor.
In a PPR still.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think James Conner can have a really big week this week.
And I will say, I said this last week, if you're somebody who's like, oh, James Conner's on the downside, I'm not even going to play him anymore, or I want to get rid of him or whatever, Mike Tomlin, and I said this, he's not going to stop running James Conner. He believes in him, and he said it today in his press conference. He's still the bell cow. He's still going to be running. He's still going to be the starter. So don't think like, oh, I got to go get Benny Snell and whoever else. Like, I don't think
real quick,
playing either.
Galladay, Jefferson. If Galladay goes, I'm leaning Jefferson. If Galladay goes, I would still go Jefferson.
If Galladay goes,
he's not going to be at 100. Even if he's not 100%. So Stafford is playing this week, right? I know it was up in question for
his thumb's busted
looking like it. I don't know if he actually plays. He's been limited, so.
Look what MPX said.
MP, you guys give good fantasy. This dude. Well, here's what I'll say about that. He's probably saying sell Chubb and Jacobs just because they had like really, really good weeks this week, and people might overvalue them. I'll say this, and this is for anybody that's watching right now. When it comes to fantasy football, send trades out all the time, but also like what I would do is I lost my train of thought for a second. Anybody on your team, it doesn't matter. Field offers, they have a price, because if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I'll trade you McLaurin and DeAndre Swift for Chubb," yes, you're going to take that. So at all times, I hate when people in fantasy football, you say, I'll send you this offer. You give them an offer, and they're like, "No, I don't want to do any trades right now." It's like, how stupid can you be? You always got to do trades. Always be thinking about trades, because somebody might come along. One year I had somebody last year, I believe it was last year, offered me Christian Kirk for Kittle. Like, I was receiving Kittle. I gave him Christian Kirk. Hell yeah, I do that. Hell yeah! Like that's why you always think about
Are
trades. Always.
you gonna take Chark, Cooper, Devontae Parker? Which one?
Chark, Cooper, Devontae Parker. I'd go Chark.
Parker, really? He is, the Steelers this week.
Steelers
I
can't
know
cover
he's
receivers. They suck.
Oh my god.
They can't cover receivers. You know that's true.
They just made one of the top passing off, not in terms of like best.
Higgins put up
but-
116 on them. What are you
Dude,
talking
they
about?
went 0 for 13 on third down.
I don't care. Higgins still had a good fantasy day.
Yeah, but Chark. If
They
anything,
give up
I'm
a
taking
big
Keenan
play
Cole.
every.
I'm taking
No,
Keenan Cole.
I'd go Chark. I mean,
Keelan Cole,
you can say whatever. You can say Parker. I don't care. I've been waiting
I
for
just think
Parker
who's more
every week,
comparable,
and it doesn't happen.
Keelan Cole to T Higgins or DeeJay Chark to T Higgins? I think
DeeJay
Keelan Cole.
Chark to T.
I just
Higgins.
think Keelan Cole is just shifty, and that's what the Steelers always struggle with. Are those shifty
Keelan
guys.
Cole's a slot wide receiver.
Yeah, and he's going to tear them up. in
That
the
was
middle.
Tyler Boyd. No, they'll get burned
Well,
deep. Steve
Tyler
Nelson
Boyd
and Joe
is
Hayden won't give up
Pretty
a
big for a
play
slot
deep.
receiver.
I got a good question on Twitter. Gonzalez or Suckup?
Gonzalez.
I think
I'm
I
gonna
did
go
answer. I said
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
Oh, you
Hey,
answered.
Yeah.
there we go. All right, so we have some questions here. I'm gonna go do this rapid fire. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Swift as flex. I can flex Curtis Samuel or drop Samuels for Hyde. I would drop Samuels for Hyde just because we already talked about this a little bit. Teddy Bridgewater, it does not look like he's going to go this week. They said he's like severely limited, can barely move. So I would go pick up Hyde, start him tonight just in case Swift doesn't go. And it doesn't look good for Swift right now. Bro, I've sent out trades every week. My league is boring. Hey, sometimes people don't bite. You're right, but you still send out those trades. It might happen. AB or Claypool this week, PPR. Personally, I go Claypool. What about you real quick, Ryan? AB or Claypool?
I'll go AB.
AB. So we're split. Let's
can't
go
wait
with the
for him.
tiebreaker. Giggs, who would you go, AB or Claypool?
Claypool.
All right, so 2 Claypool, 1 AB. You take it for whatever. Unfortunately, Giggs is on bye. I need Michael Thomas to show up. I do think he's going to show up this week. I honestly think that Jameis Winston helps this offense more than Breeze because Jameis Winston is a gunslinger, and he's not going to be afraid of throwing the ball where Drew Brees is more conservative. Plus, he's like about 92 years old. You know, that GIF. Hey, Kyle, throw out that GIF. It's been 84 years. Anyways, let's continue on. So Kenyan Drake over Edwards-Helaire. I'll give that question to Giggs. Edwards-Helaire or Kenyan Drake? Who would you go, Giggs?
Kenyan Drake, baby.
Kenyan Drake, baby. I also am a little concerned. I already talked about this. Edwards-Helaire only played 25 snaps, I think I said, out of 62 snaps the last game. So I'm a little concerned going forward. You have Le'Veon Bell playing 19 and Darrell Williams. I keep wanting to say Henderson played 19 as well. So not good. Would you start Fulgham over Crowder or Ridley if hurt? Well, 100% I played Ridley, and then I'd play Crowder over Fulgham, personally. Would you agree with that, Ryan?
Yeah, the only thing that it looked like he got a step back once Alshon Jeffrey played last week. So until you see something different, it's tough to start Fulgham right now. Even though the experts on NFL.com said Fulgham's a must start this week. I don't see how you can say that after he had 1 catch for 8 yards, but what the hell? What
and
the hell do we know?
especially,
Until
I think
something changes
the
in the
Browns get
offense.
after Wentz as well. Don't you think so?
Guys,
Yeah.
real quick, question on Twitter.
Garrett's playing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I didn't
Go
know
ahead.
if he was illness.
Question on Twitter. It's Hyde tonight or Galladay, Judy, Pittman. It's a flex and it's a PPR league.
PPR, I'm probably not picking Hyde. I don't know.
I'd probably go Hyde, honestly, because I don't
Really?
like any of those matchups. I'd maybe consider, but Judy even has a really tough matchup as well. Like they're all.
Lock's out, right? Or is Lock playing?
I don't think Drew Lock is going to play.
He hasn't officially been ruled out.
Tim
But
Patrick week, folks. Click, clack, blow to Tim Patrick. We saw it last time.
we did see it last time with Rippin out there. Is that his name,
Yeah.
Rippin?
Straight ripping. All right, I'm going to tell this kid to play Hyde because if he doesn't play Hyde and Galladay doesn't play, I don't like Judy or Pittman this week. So
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that just on that. I feel like that's the
Okay,
safe.
did you guys answer Claypool or AB?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Just
I lost.
Um, I'm about to just leave you guys with Drake. We'll have hey, Thanks for hanging out, MP. Hey, hopefully he does have a big game for you tonight, okay? I know you're big on him, and you got to have something to watch, so hopefully he has a big game for you. Edmonds, Gurley, and thanks for hanging out, honestly. We do appreciate it. You're always active in here. We do appreciate that. Edmonds, Gurley, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and the flex, pick one, full PPR. Who would you go, Ryan? Edmonds? I'd go Edmonds as well. Gurley, like I'm going to say this real quick. Gurley's averaging 2.5 yards per carry the pass. I think it's 4 weeks now. Has played some pretty friendly run defense as well. Now plays the best run defense in the NFL. The Saints giving up 3.3 yards per carry. So he's absolutely going to have to fall in the end zone to have any fantasy value. In a PPR, I'd probably go Edmonds just because I feel like he's going to catch some passes tonight. Last time I think he had like 7 catches or something. So I think he's going to be pretty solid tonight. Hyde or Christian Kirk, who would you go, Giggs?
Hyde or Christian Kirk?
Is this? I'll ask real quick. PPR, is it PPR? I'm not sure if it's PPR or not.
I'm gonna go Christian.
If it's
Kirk.
PPR, who would you go?
Definitely Christian Kirk in PPR. I don't know how much passing where Carlos Hyde's gonna get tonight, and we keep acting like Carlos Hyde. I understand why Carlos Hyde is appealing tonight, but we still don't know 100% like how much he's going to get the ball over DeeJay Dallas. I still think he's a safe play as like an RB3, obviously. If you really need him RB2, it's fine. But I really like this matchup for Christian Kirk. Seattle's pass defense sucks. So
and they're without their top starting cornerbacks, so even worse. It might get better though, honestly. It might get better. You never know. If they're without those 2 bums, maybe it gets a little bit better for them. You never know. I'm super thin at running back, drafted Saquon and Drake. What are some long-term waiver wire ads? I mean, I'm assuming they're probably already gone, but Kalen Ballage, I wouldn't say long-term, but definitely for the next couple of weeks. Ahmed, I don't know how exactly what his name is. Definitely like more of a long-term guy in my opinion, because they what's the coach's name? Is it Flores? Brian Flores? Flores. He came out today and said that he's not giving an official timeline on Gaskin because they're not sure when he comes back. So if Ahmed's there, 100% go out and get him right now, because that to me screams Myles Gaskin's not ready or near ready yet. So maybe it's just
Thielen, Kirk, or Anderson. Wide receiver
Thielen, Kirk, Anderson. I'd go Thielen. I like Thielen this week.
Go with it.
I agree, actually.
Drop Judy for Hyde or flex Judy. I want to drop Judy. I would just roll with Judy this week. Unless you're like so desperate that you have to win this week, there's no – but still, I would just go Judy. It's going to be a brutal matchup, but –
We just told a kid on Twitter to go Hyde over Judy.
All right, so if you need to win this week – but this is tough because he has to drop Judy. Like, would you drop Judy? That makes it a little bit harder.
No, he's been really, really good lately. He's getting a shit ton of targets, and he has a lot of air yards. Like, I know that's not the most telling stat, but the ball's going his way. So I like Judy going forward. This kid on Twitter says, nervous with Lockett. Do I play Judy, Hollywood, or Cup over him? I think you play Lockett.
I think you play Lockett 100%. Yeah. And even if he doesn't have a good week, say it's 4 points, I know it sucks, but at the same time, you live with it because Lockett's the better play, 100%. Sometimes it just happens. Sorry, Mitt. Drop Hurst, Goddard, or okay. I would drop one of the tight ends. Honestly, I would play Hyde tonight. Who would you drop, Hurst or Goddard?
Probably. That's tough. I'd probably drop Goddard. If you were looking rest of season, yeah.
I would drop Goddard.
I think, honestly, Hurst is like a top 5 tight end because it's brutal. And he's seeing a decent amount of work since they said that they came out and said that they wanted to get him more involved, and they honestly have been. So I think he's a really solid player.
Hey, Hayden Hurst, play him in FanDuel this week. Good price.
Good price. So you heard it here first. So, yeah, go ahead, drop Goddard, pick up Hyde. I would play Hyde tonight over Judy just because Judy has a really tough matchup this week.
David Moore
and
tonight
probably
or
gets
flex
ripping.
Gallup or Cole instead?
Ooh, Gallup, I think, could have a nice game with Andy Dalton.
They do like
big
each
on
other.
Gallup. Big on Gallup this week. So definitely if it's PPR, I'm going Gallup.
Yeah,
They think each other's cute.
They
So
do
what you're
kind of
saying,
like
Con?
each other.
Yeah,
They-
Gallup is his hairdresser. He's the new one who gets his faux hawk ready before every game.
his faux hawk.
That used to be me.
Should I add Taysom Hill? We kind of talked about this earlier. That's only if if you were desperate at the tight end position, I do think he's a solid add. Or outside like the top, I'd say like 7, 8 tight ends, then at that point you might as well just go ahead and roll the dice because that's basically what it is after there. It's a shit show. So sure, roll Taysom Hill and hopefully he gets one of those gadget plays, throws a touchdown or runs one in from close, something like that. So if you're desperate at the tight end position, yeah, but I wouldn't start him over like a Hayden Hurst or TJ Hawkinson, somebody like that that's in the middle of the pack. I wouldn't start him over him. We did miss a couple questions here. I have Lockett and Metcalf. Should I play both or one? If one, which one? Depends on who you'd play over the other one. If you want to play just one of them, I think honestly, I know Lockett had the better game last time, but I kind of feel like Metcalf's that's going to this time. But I could totally be wrong. What about
You're
you guys?
wrong. You're just wrong.
I like Lockett more tonight than Metcalf.
So
you know
Lockett.
what's right when.
But it also depends on who else you're playing. Let us know who else you're playing.
True.
Ayo guys, I'm starting Edmonds since Mixon yeah, I would. I don't think Mixon plays this week again, which blows my mind here. Okay, why didn't you place him on IR yet then? If he hasn't played this entire time, why is he not on IR? Because it pisses
That
me
sounds
off
like the
every
Eagles
week.
front office.
It's so frustrating as a fantasy manager that I can't just throw him in that IR spot. I have to wait until he's officially ruled out, which they aren't doing it until like Saturday. So I can't pick up anybody because he's sitting there on my bench. So hey, Bengals, if you're listening to me, just place him on IR, you idiots. Okay, thank you. Anyways, start 2 running backs: Damian Harris, Hyde, Kenyan Drake, Chase Edmonds, Gurley, Ahmed. Man, that's a lot of
Ahmed.
average guys.
I don't think there's any in there. I could be
Ahmed?
wrong.
I kept getting confused, but I took it for what
I'm
they were
pretty
saying,
sure
but
it's
I didn't see it.
Ahmed.
Didn't they seriously say
I think
Ahmed on
it's
TV
Ahmed.
though?
Yeah, they kept saying Ahmed all
Yeah, but
game.
they're just old dudes. They don't
Yeah,
know.
they're probably like being incredibly racist, honest to God. They're probably like, it's gotta be Ahmed.
All right. Anyways, let's start 2 running backs. Personally,
Oh yeah, we
I
haven't
would
done
go.
parlay for the people. Get that ready, Ryan. Send it to me.
I have it ready whenever. I'll send it to you.
We
Yeah,
just
send
keep
it to me.
getting a lot of questions in the chat,
Yeah, we
which
do.
hey,
Which,
hey,
hey, I'm not
we
complaining.
appreciate you guys hanging out. Honestly, we
Twitter's
like
popping,
answering
too.
any questions.
You ask any questions. If anybody else watching has any questions, please ask away. Also, please like and subscribe if you haven't already and keep up with our content. We want to help you win fantasy and any bets you have, ask away.
Gosh, that's a lot of guys there. Honestly, I would probably go. I think Harris has a really good matchup this week. I'll say this: if it's PPR, I'm gonna go Chase Edmonds tonight, and I'll also go. I'd go Ahmed. Honestly, I would go. But if it's standard, I'd probably go
shit.
Damian Harris and Carlos Hyde.
Standard, I like Gurley. He's gone in the end zone a lot. He has a lot of carries
Yes.
on the season. I think I'd stick with Todd Gurley. You probably also drafted him somewhat higher. And honestly, I'm gonna go
Kenyan Drake.
Kenyan Drake, baby. Give you something to watch tonight.
Well, who would you go then? Would you go Hyde or Gurley as well? Hyde or Gurley?
I'd go Gurley. I know we like
I'd go
Hyde's
Hyde
matchup,
personally.
Yeah, I'd probably go Hyde.
So that's 2-1. But hey, Giggs also knows what he's talking about as well. Evans, Kirk, Chark, or AB. Start 2. Evans, Kirk, Chark, AB. I'm definitely starting Chark. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not worried about the matchup. Steelers are good for a busted play here. He's probably going to have a long reception. So I'd go Chark, and then I personally would probably go Kirk just because Evans and AB have a really, really tough matchup on the outside. Right now, I believe the Rams are giving up the second least points to the wide receivers this season. So I just think it's going to be a really tough matchup personally. I'd go Chark and Kirk. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't know who the other corner is for the Rams, but I know he's ranked very high on Pro Football Focus. So they have 2 good corners right now. I would probably go AB over Evans if I was choosing between those 2. But I'm with you. I think I like I think I like Kirk over both of them.
What about you, Ryan?
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough, but yeah, I agree with you guys. Something's gonna happen. So I'm saying either Kirk or Fitzgerald are gonna have a really good game tonight, and I'm leaning towards Kirk having like a bigger game, but I also think Fitz is a solid play tonight. His over under was set at 37.5. It was at 35.5 earlier. He's in his career. He's killed the Seahawks in his career, and it's down at 35.5 when his highest target game was last week of the season. So I'm liking Fitzgerald tonight as well a little bit.
And it's Darius Williams. Just if anybody was wondering, Darius Williams, he's the other quarterback for the Rams. So we're getting a lot of questions here. So I'm going to do quick fire here. I was thinking either Lockett or Deontay Johnson. I would go Lockett. I'd play Lockett tonight. I know it's tough, LOL. Yes, a lot of these questions are pretty tough. And listen, we're not some of these cupcakes out here that are fielding the little soft pitch balls, right? No, we field them all, baby. We field them all. We'll answer any questions you have. We're not ESPN that's going to say, hey, should I play Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry? No, that's pretty easy question. Or should I play Dalvin Cook or Carlos Hyde? Those are the questions that they field. So we ain't ESPN over here. We're fielding the hard questions. So anyways, T. Higgins is injured. Should I play Kirk now? No, T. Higgins is just sick. He hadn't known this. I do think he's going to play. But it's also a really tough matchup as well, where Washington's given up. I think Washington's given up the second fewest, where the Rams are giving up, I think, like the seventh fewest or something. So who would you go real quick? T. Higgins or Kirk, Ryan?
I go Kirk. Because we don't know if it's 19 or not.
I personally would go T. Higgins. I think he's emerged as a consistent week in, week out wide receiver too.
I personally go T. Higgins as well. But hey, if you're a little concerned, go ahead and play Kirk, because honestly, I don't think he's a bad play as well tonight. That's what I have. Thanks for the advice. Hey, you're welcome for the advice. So that's what we're here for. I have Jared Cook. Don't think getting Tyson Hill is worth it. Yeah, I'd probably just roll with Cook then, honestly. Cook even has a pretty good matchup this week with, obviously, and I think he's going to definitely play more snaps than Tyson Hill. So I'd rather have somebody that's playing more snaps like that. Personally, just my opinion. I was thinking between Metcalf, Lockett, and Deontay Johnson. Which two should I start? That's tough. I'd probably go. I do think Deontay Johnson has a pretty solid week, and he's seeing, in the games that he's healthy, he's seeing over 10 targets a game. So that's really hard to pass up on, but it is DK and Lockett. So I'd probably go DK and Lockett. One of them's going to pop off, and hopefully you're going to get the right one if you're starting both of them. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, that's obviously.
You're the Steelers professional.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, he's their number one. I don't know if people think like maybe Claypool is, but he's not. Johnson's the number one.
What about Juju?
No, Juju's like the across the middle guy. Big Ben needs to get a first down. He's that kind of guy. Yeah, they're all legit. They're all really good. So they're all good plays. But anyways, what positions should you draft in the first 2 rounds of the draft next year? 100% running back, and actually I'm going to say kicker and tight end. Okay? No, I was just kidding, dude. Running back and wide receiver. Listen, hey, I've seen it in my draft. Okay, Lamar Jackson was taken with like, what pick was it, Giggs? Like the 3rd overall pick or 4th or something?
He came with like the 5th or 6th.
Guys,
overall.
we officially have 800 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, I was the head scratcher. Yay!
So, but I have also seen other leagues where he was taken in the 2nd round. Hey, how's that working out? And I guarantee next year, guess what's going to happen? Guys, guess what's going to happen? Hey,
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray's going to probably be drafted. Guess what do you think's going to happen? Oh, there's going to be another Justin Herbert next year. And then everybody's going to be like, oh, why do you draft quarterback so high? So please do me a favor. Unless you're in a 2-quarterback league, don't draft a quarterback high, especially that high, because it doesn't work out. Guess who was drafted the year before? Oh, Patrick Mahomes. Guess how that worked out? Oh, Lamar Jackson, who was drafted really late, ended up being quarterback number 1. Hey, that would have been nice to know. But here at Aspire Sports, we tell you that. So 100% go running back, wide receiver. You can see it is a deadly position, but you're just hoping that you get the guy that's good, that guy that's going to play, because it's going to be a massive upgrade over everybody else in the league.
Let me say this real quick. let me say this real quick. If you're in a standard league, go running back, especially if you're drafting late.
And
I agree.
And everything Tyler just said refers to people strictly not in our fantasy leagues. And if you're in our fantasy league, literally do whatever you want and keep taking quarterbacks in the first round because we appreciate you.
True. Balaj, Swift, Hyde, or Gurley? I have Balaj and Hyde in. Swift. I'd stay as is. I'm sure Giggs will say play Gurley, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to say my quick stat about Balaj real quick. Balaj, there's only 3 running backs in the NFL the past 2 weeks that has had more touches than Kalen Balaj. 3: James Robinson, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry. Other than that, he's right there, 3rd in the league for touch, or 4th in the league for touches. So Balaj, in my opinion, is a must start. Also, or doesn't play. I'm putting. Oh, okay. So he's gonna. Who would you rather have in the flex? Gurley, AB, or Chark, guys?
I'll trust Ty. I'll go Chark if he's all about Chark this week.
I know New Orleans is a very good run defense, but I kind of just like Gurley. I don't know why.
Right,
He gets the volume.
I mean, and touchdowns are incredibly difficult to predict, but at the same time, when you're when you're second, I don't know if he's still second in the league, but when you're second in the league in terms of red zone attempts and goal line attempts, like there's a good chance that you're probably going to score, especially in this game where I think it's going to be a bit high scoring game. So there'll be an opportunities to score. I just don't, if he doesn't score, it's going to be a shit week. If he doesn't score, it's going to be an absolute shit week, in my opinion. Let's go RB2, McKissick or Ahmed, however you say it. McKissick, 100%. Cook or Logan Thomas? Who would you go, Cook or Logan Thomas?
I like Logan Thomas.
I'd go Logan Thomas as well. Has a really good matchup in Cincinnati, where I think they're giving like the second most points to the tight end position on the season. So I would go Logan Thomas as well.
Which, if you've been following us since we had like 50 subscribers and like 50 followers,
we've been high on him.
We've been all about Logan Thomas.
We have been. Would you draft Kelsey in the second round if there were no tight ends? Me personally, I wouldn't. Now, I understand that Kelsey's a massive upgrade over all the other tight ends, but I just don't like how my roster construction is if I do that. Like, I'd much rather try to find like honestly, Hayden Hurst isn't bad, because then you could be stuck with like some shit guys as your running back or wide receivers, where I'm going to have the bigger upgrade over you if I drafted well. It's really tough to say because it also just comes down to the draft. But at the same time, like in my opinion, I don't like my roster construction. If you rather have, the top tight end in the league, which he is year in and year out, then sure, go for it. But I'd much rather try to hit on the running back or wide receiver. Personally, I go running back like first 4 rounds is what I do every single year. So I'd much rather hit on the running backs and have one of those guys rather than the tight end. But it's preference, whatever you prefer. If you feel like you can build the roster better, go for it.
Real quick, my opinion is you don't even take one of the top tight ends unless they have fallen in the draft in their value. I'm 100% with you where it messes up roster construction. And just take a look at this year and the past year. There's tight ends who have emerged. You don't always have to reach on a tight end. Jonnu Smith, Hawkinson, both coming in as like top 5, top 6 tight ends this year, and you could have got him in the 10th, 11th, or later rounds. So,
yeah, and you look to Ertz and Mark Andrews have been, for both their different reasons, have looked like a wasted pick. That were probably going around 5, 6, 7. Andrews maybe even sooner.
Mm-hmm. And you'll have some tight ends that will emerge next year that'll be different. So I just think go with running back. PPR pick 3. So we got Godwin, Johnson, Jamison, Crowder, T. Higgins, Kirk. I would go the first 3. So I would go Godwin, Johnson, Crowder, personally.
Do we have any? Are there still questions? Oh, okay. I didn't even listen. Someone texted me about a question about tonight's game.
Logan Thomas or over Hill? Yes, personally, I would go Logan Thomas. Just pick up Thomas on waivers. Yeah, I would go. I know, a lot of these ESPN gurus, your geniuses over there, your Matthew Berrys are saying, "So well, Tyson Hill is going to be an awesome play this week." Personally, I don't think he is. If he scores a gadget touchdown, sure, but he's not going to be playing all the snaps at tight end. Is probably not going to play like barely any snaps at tight end. So you're hoping for a gadget play scorer. I'd much rather have a guy that's constantly on the field all the time. Just better, more opportunities for that person running routes. So personally, Logan Thomas. I got Waller in the 6th round. Yeah, I mean Waller's also been really legit as well. I just don't. And once again, it comes down to preference. Like if you feel like you'd rather have a top quarterback in the league and you draft him early, hey, do whatever you want. Like that's fine. Like I'm not gonna argue with that because you can also be really solid at drafting the middle round guys like a DeAndre Swift, although has been all that great this year. But some of these middle round running backs, who is another middle round running back? Gibson's been solid this year. So like if you're solid at, finding those talents, then sure, 100% go for that. But in my opinion, I just like the roster construction better when I don't draft them early. I'm always the last one to draft a quarterback and a tight end. It's just how I like to do things. Should I start all 3 or bench 1? Full PPR, Jacobs, Rojo, Ahmed. Now it depends on who your options are. I don't like Rojo this week. I know he had a big week last week, but gets the Rams right now. And the Rams, I believe, are giving up. I'd have to double check this, but I believe they're like top 5 in terms of least points against the running back position this year. So I don't like Rojo, but it depends on who else you have. So RB's first 2 rounds, yes. And I will say this: like the first 2 rounds comes down to value, in my opinion. Like this year, I was stupid. I was just like. My mind was set on Mixon, which some years I get into this. I love this guy so much. I can't break out of it. I had honestly, really at the time, I should have probably went Michael Thomas. It would have been the better draft pick at the time, but I really also loved Devontae Adams. I should have probably drafted him. But if if a wide receiver falls to you at value, like, yes, you pick him. Like, even if it's like, say Devontae Adams falls to you and you're sitting there with like Kenyan Drake this year, you should take Devontae Adams. We're not saying go running back 100% because if you get if you get a wide receiver that falls to you at value, 100% you go to that guy. We're going to do it this year. We weren't involved in it this year, but we're going to make like projections, not just projections, but tiers, and you should follow those tiers where if a guy like a wide receiver is in the 2nd tier, but you have a running back in like the 3rd tier, take the wide receiver in the 2nd tier. That's how I would do it. It's just the best that way, my opinion. You feel the same way or disagree?
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. So like this year, for an example, I know this kind of sucks looking at it now, but this year right around draft time, Mixon was going through this, like, I forget, was it contract? There was a couple running backs that were going through contract issues. You were getting incredible value because everyone was that Le'Veon Bell scared of another situation.
Also Sanders.
I think wasn't it Cook? Wasn't it Cook too?
Cook,
and Kamara?
Yeah, both of them.
Like if you drafted late, it was just like, I ended up getting, it was a 2 quarterback league, but I got Kamara at pick 8 in my
Well, I'm saying league. Sanders in the sense because he was hurt, so he was actually falling later in the draft as well.
Yeah.
But so it's hard to say because these guys got hurt, but at the same time, if they didn't get hurt, where would they be now? And that's just what it comes down to. That's why I just like drafting earlier, because some of these guys are going to hit, like your Kamara, and he's absolute stud play, crush play every single week. You don't even have to think about it. Start your lineup, he's in there. So
unless it's this week.
Hopefully. Real quick, we have some questions here. Sorry, keep talking about the draft because I also I'm gonna make a video this week, next week, probably next week, talking about next year's fantasy drafts. If you guys would be interested in a video like that, let me know, because honestly, I do love draft time's the best time in fantasy, in my opinion. I love draft time. Like draft time's so exciting. You get that football feeling. As the fall, leaves start to change unless you're down south where it never changes possibly. But up north, the leaves change. You get that small feeling in the air, fall smelling in the air, especially around where I live. There's grapes and stuff. Oh, is that a little too personal? People.
Oh shit!
Right by the Welch's factory, folks.
There's a couple. All right. Anyways, got to get through these questions real quick.
Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please.
Yes, if you haven't, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. I honestly think we put out really, really solid content. The production value is going to get there. But the content right now and how we are going to make it a little bit more interesting is only going to get better. But the true content that we give you, honestly, I think is top notch. I think like Matthew, we're putting out shit that's Matthew Berry, hey, Matthew Berry, hey, dickhead, you just price walled all your fans. Hey, good job, guy. Anyways, so let's continue. Just traded Edmonds for Kirk, got pushed through, starting 100%. Think I'm going to bench Hyde for Balaj now. I'd start Balaj, my opinion. But anyways, if you like that, go for it. Start 3 non-PPR: AJ Brown, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, or Justin Jefferson. So you have to start 3. I would sit Brandon Cooks in my opinion. I'd sit Brandon Cooks. Matthew Berry has lost me several games. Yes, Matthew Berry. I don't like. Here's one thing that I'll say really quickly. At the end of the day, we're not. I wouldn't say we're experts. Like medical people in the medical field are experts because they aren't wrong a lot of the time with some of the stuff. Like if you have a doctor, a lot of the time they're going to get things right. Whereas it's basically 50-50 at the end of the day. You hope that you're on the other side of the 50, and it's not going to be much higher than that. So to say you're an expert, you're not an expert. You're knowledgeable. Sure, you do a bunch of research, but doesn't make you necessarily an expert. And it's really hard to predict these things. Like it's incredibly hard to try to predict these things and come out with a solid.
We're basically like brain surgeons.
Very close to it. That's kind of what fantasy is at times. But anyways, Matthew Berry, yes.
Really, I don't see a difference.
He should have left. He should have left ESPN. He should have told him, "Hey, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to do my own thing." That's what he should have done. But anyways,
You taking Pittman over Edmonds this week?
No.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire doesn't play. Would you play Bell? I'd play Bell if Clyde doesn't play. Honestly, yeah, that'd be a solid play. Start 2: Keenan Allen, James Robinson, Miles Sanders, Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor. Boy, that's tough.
Keenan Allen and then someone else.
Who would you go, James Robinson or Sanders?
I would start probably Sanders.
I'd probably start Sanders
What is this dude's
as well.
roster? Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
I would go Sanders and God, who the hell did I just say? The wide receiver.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I'd probably go Keenan Allen as well. It's really tough because I love running backs, but I'd probably go Keenan Allen, Miles Sanders. Better than watching Matthew Berry and Field Yates. They do the same shit.
Score?
First touchdown score. Real quick, who do you guys have?
Oh shit. I like Edmonds. I'm going Edmonds is plus 2,000 on DraftKings. I like Edmonds. Other side, I like DK Metcalf. Or I mean Tyler Lockett.
All right. Do you have yours, Gigs?
Oh yeah, I like Kenyan Drake. If you're gonna bet on him, you got a DK for him. He's at 1,300.
I meant AB or Pittman.
AB. And then if you're gonna bet on a Seahawk, go ahead, just go put it on Carlos Hyde. We've talked him up all night. Go get yourself some points with Carlos Hyde, some money, I should say, points and money.
I'll go with Christian Kirk, and I'm gonna say on the opposite side, I will say Carlos Hyde as well.
Kyle, let's hear your fullback that we've never heard of cashing it for 400.
Isabella and a fullback.
Ready. I haven't looked at it. I'm not doing any.
I was doing a really good job on Twitter. He's crushing on Twitter. Good job.
Attaboy, Kyle.
You guys are more. Hey, honestly, we appreciate it. We appreciate the feedback. And if there's videos that you guys want to watch, please let us know. Like, I'm just playing around with content right now. I can make content for days. So like, if you guys want to watch a certain type of video, let us know. Like, we'll make it happen the next day for you, honestly. So real quick, let's do, because there's no other questions. I'm scared to get into sports betting. I'm too big of a Steelers. I'm a massive Steelers fan myself, honestly. Like, check the hat. Kyle's a massive Steelers fan. He doesn't sport bet. But I do sports betting. I'll say this. If you're scared to get into it, like because you're going to be biased, just don't bet on the Steelers. We'll give you some bets and just throw like 50-cent bets on it, honestly. Like that, like you can do it on FanDuel or Sportsbook, put in like a couple parlays, pay out like $10, or even like if you bet 50 cents and you win $3, oh yeah, you just won $3 on a 50-cent bet. Like there's no place in the world that you can do that. Well, I guess at the casino you could do that.
Yeah.
in terms of like sports betting. You used to just have to go to your bookie, and your bookie ain't no fucking way he's taking a 50-cent bet. You know what I'm saying? So you can do that on these sites, and it's just you could turn a 50-cent parlay into $1,000. Like it's just crazy. So I would just do it. Put in $10 and just have fun with it. Just do like these small little bets. Be responsible, gamble responsibly. But it makes the game so much fun too when you do it that way, in my opinion. So, but let's go ahead and do. Would you agree with that, Giggs? Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. And if you have a problem gambling, 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-800-GAMBLER. I have Wilson, DK, and yeah. If you're starting, that's a
guys.
really
The ball has been kicked. I hope you got your lineups in. I hope you got them in. And guys, it was.
I had a big type out, and we didn't even get into Seattle and Arizona. We got the player news, and that was it.
I had a big type talked about it. We didn't even do our predictions, did we?
We had so many.
Everyone just wants our intel, and that's
that's fine for now. Because we got a lot of followers and stuff today. So everybody that's still watching, honestly, at this point, thank you so much. And anybody who's
we do it again Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Real quick,
Sunday, definitely tune in.
I know it's just started, but real quick, because we do it every single time. Predictions: who's going to win? Real quick. Kyle, who? Or I'll ask you last. Yeah. Ryan, who do you think's going to win?
I'm going Cardinals.
Okay. Giggs, who do you think's going to win?
I'm going to go Cardinals 28-27.
Hokie forgot to take Carson out, so you're welcome.
Wait, what?
That sucks. Dawson just said you forgot to take Carson out.
Yikes.
Where?
Sucks.
No, I don't have Carson. Dawson forgot to take Carson.
Oh.
Dawson has Chris Carson.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misread that.
I'm like, what the fuck did he do now, Ryan?
Hey, Donna
I've done that
since.
before.
Be careful, dude.
No, my freaking house. Wait, I'm sorry, Giggs. Who did you say?
I got Cardinals 28-27.
The parlay's not too late.
I'm gonna say
right.
I'm gonna say Seattle 31-28. That's who I think is gonna win. And the final thing, Ryan, what time does the game end tonight?
Oh, it's gonna be a long one. We're gonna go 11:41.
11:41. You guys heard
prediction.
it. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I think it's gonna be 30-27 Seattle because they've lost two straight and they're not gonna lose this game.
So you're getting the spread. I'm not getting the spread.
It's a push. It's a push.
They can't afford to lose it, or you can honestly, this division's basically a toss up at this point if they lose tonight, which it already kind of almost is. Not really, but it should be.
The best team in this division's not even playing tonight.
Who, the Rams? Is that who you're saying?
No, the 49ers, dude.
Of course, big Nick energy.
Hey, if they were healthy, they're much better than I thought they would be once Bosa went down and the issues with Garoppolo. They're much better than I thought they'd be. So I give them props.
All right.
I'm gonna legit.
All right, enjoy the game, folks.
So thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate you hanging out. I know a lot of you have already checked out, but hey, we appreciate anybody still hanging out. Honestly, thank you. We'll be back Sunday at what time did we go? Did we go 10:30 or was it 11?
10:30.
10:30.
10:30.
Sunday we'll be back 10:30 basically to kick off again.
Eastern time.
Answering all of your questions. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in and good luck today. Good luck tonight and good luck this weekend. See you guys. Bye.
Good luck.